He's finally gone. What a relief. Mike, now acting CEO, mocks me. His cronies sneer and smirk as they look down on me. If I leave, all the boss's favorites will be fired. Mike's sister, Anne, the executive director, bites her lip in frustration. What are you thinking? Without Mr. White, the company will truly fall apart. Shut up. I'm the acting CEO and you're the executive director. If you can't listen to me, you might as well quit too. Sarah, the CEO's wife, is completely on Mike's side. If I resign, Mike's takeover of the company will succeed, but I have no power to stop it. Watching the internal strife of this family-run business is painful. Maybe I should just quit. Thank you for everything up to now. I bow deeply. As I raise my head, the faces of Mike, Sarah, and the surrounding employees turn pale. I turn around, shocked. My name is Bob White. I'm a 32-year-old salesman at a medium-sized design firm called Smith Design. Our company is family-run, and the upper management all share the Smith surname. The CEO is John Smith, the COO is his son Mike, and the executive director is his daughter Anne. Sarah Smith, the CEO's wife, doesn't hold a formal position but often comes to the office to complain to the staff. I often hear that family-run companies can easily become exploitative. Indeed, Sarah, who wanders the office doing no actual work, can sometimes be annoying. However, as long as you can ignore Sarah's complaints, it's a pretty good place to work. The main reason is that CEO John is a very respectable person. He hardly ever throws his weight around just because he's the boss and takes the staff's opinions into account. That's why our company has good communication. The staff don't hold on to grievances and work happily. John's children assumed their positions about 5 years ago. Although the eldest daughter Anne is a year older than her brother Mike, she is the executive director and he is the COO. Anne has no particular complaints about this arrangement. Anne graduated from a prestigious university in the metro area and is extremely competent, yet she never lords it over anyone. She prioritizes the comfort of her employees, making her the kind of female boss you'd gladly follow. On the other hand, Mike, who became the COO, is a bit of a problematic figure. Before joining his father's company, and gained experience at another design firm, while Mike spent his time traveling the world as a backpacker. It's not that there's anything wrong with traveling the world. It's just that he seems unable to shake off his student mindset, preferring to avoid uncomfortable truths. Perhaps appointing Mike, a younger man, as CEO reflects our company's lingering male-dominated culture. However, Sarah's influence over Mike's promotion is significant. Sarah dotes on Mike and indulges his every whim. Still, as John's son, perhaps Mike will change as he gains more experience. I used to think of myself as young, but it's already been 10 years since I graduated from college. During that time, I've worked solely for Smith Design. As younger people join, I'm reminded of my own aging. I strive daily not to become an unpleasant boss. Moreover, I have a different kind of relationship with John. John enjoys playing chess, but it's hard for him to find opponents. While there are those who play shogi or go, I'm about the only one who plays chess. So, we often play a game during lunch breaks or after work in his office. It's not that he goes easy on me. Our win rates are about even. Man, I lost today. Maybe I'm getting old. What are you talking about, boss? We still need you to keep going strong. John, who just turned 60, has started to worry about his age more often. From my perspective, he's still vibrant and youthful, a perfect example of a 60-year-old professional. It seems his concern about age is partly because he feels his son Mike isn't yet capable enough to take over with confidence. It's frustrating to lose like this. How about it, Mr. White? One more game. Sure, I won't hold back. John laughs heartily, and we begin setting up the chess pieces again. Then, one day, it happened. A female employee rushed out of the CEO's office. "Someone call an ambulance. The boss says his chest hurts and he's collapsed." As we employees headed to the CEO's office, the door was open and many had already gathered inside. Mike and Ann's voices were loud. "Dad, hold on, I'm loosening your tie now." "Dad, you'll be okay. Just don't move. The ambulance is on its way." Soon, the paramedics arrived and carried John out on a stretcher. Mike, the COO, and Ann, the executive director, accompanied him. Sarah, who was at home, was informed and headed straight to the hospital. We couldn't focus on work, waiting anxiously for news from Mike and Ann. Eventually, Ann called the office. "Dad is completely unconscious now. He's got arrhythmia and a high fever. It's a critical situation," she said. From that day, a sense of unease spread throughout the office. While trying to manage our tasks, everyone wondered what would become of Smith Design. If the boss doesn't make it, will we all lose our jobs? No, we have the COO and the executive director. One of them will take over. That one of them was also a big issue. I was thinking, whether Ann became president or Mike did, I only felt uneasy about the future. There were several family meetings at the Smith house. As I feared, it was decided that Mike, being the eldest son, would act as president. This is what I think is a downside of family-run businesses. However, it's not like a president is elected by staff voting. The next day, Mike confidently arrived at the office as the acting president. During the morning meeting, Ann, the executive director, announced to all employees, "The president has not regained consciousness yet. Smith Design is facing its biggest crisis since its inception. Let's support the acting president and overcome this crisis together." As I listened to Ann's words, I wondered vaguely, is she okay with this? Does she really agree? "Acting president, a few words, please. I know everyone is anxious at this time, but please believe in me and do your best. If we all work hard, it will surely help improve my father's condition." One of Mike's cronies started clapping. And soon, other employees joined in. While clapping along, I kept my gaze fixed on Ann. Ann, as if trying to hide her true feelings, joined in with a cold smile on her face. An employee standing right next to me muttered, "What's going to happen now? I'm really anxious." It seems I'm not the only one feeling anxious. Since Mike became an acting president, a few days have passed and his impact was immediate. He started implementing massive layoffs. Mike has been with Smith Design for 5 years now, and many employees are dissatisfied with him. Unfortunately, I am one of them. It seems he intends to rid himself of anyone he considers a nuisance. Let me explain how we got here. Before the layoffs began, Sarah had started coming into the CEO's office more frequently. We didn't know what they were discussing, but it doesn't seem good news for us employees. "Hey, someone take somebody to the CEO's office and check out the situation." A female employee made some tea and knocked on the office door. We all held our breath, listening to the sound. Unfortunately, we could barely hear any voices. We waited for the female employee who delivered the tea to return. Eventually, she came running back. "Layoffs are going to be implemented. Any employee who doesn't align with the acting president's views is out. That means the COO, the acting president, will definitely target anyone who opposed him in the past. What should we do? I've been quite outspoken myself." If that's the case, I'm in the same boat. From the time Mike and Ann joined a company, there was a clear divide between those supporting the COO and those supporting the executive director. I was decidedly anti-COO, which means I supported Ann. Just then, 2 of Mike's cronies from the CEO's office walked in, and we all fell silent. "What's this? So quiet like a funeral. We need to rally behind the acting president and uplift Smith Design." "Well, who knows how many of us will remain. Better clean up and be ready." The 2 cronies looked at each other and laughed uproariously. Apparently, at least their futures seemed secure. And so, the next day, people started getting fired one by one. At first, it was the employees who openly opposed Mike's methods who were targeted. Next were those who had never spoken out, but sided with Ann when issues arose, and became increasingly isolated. It seems Mike wants to push Ann out of Smith Design. Despite being siblings only a year apart, I am now the only one left in Ann's camp. My mom has always favored Mike. I guess I've never been a favorite because I've always opposed her. Ann said, "Is the COO, I mean, the acting president, making hospital visits to see the president?" Ann shook her head weakly. "Everything's left to the hospital. It seems he thinks there's no chance for a comeback. Mike plans to take over Smith Design completely." "Is the COO visiting the president? How is his condition?" "Actually, there's been a significant change. It's a positive change, but Mike's actions might be too quick to catch up. This might mean there's a chance for the president to return to the company." It felt like a slight ray of light in the darkness. "Executive Director, next time you visit the president, please take me with you. I know I can't do much, but I want to help in any way I can to aid his recovery." "Thank you. I haven't been visiting these past few days. Let's go right after work today." As I approached, one of Mike's cronies instructed me to go to the CEO's office. Ann's face tensed up. It seemed my time to be fired had finally come. I bowed deeply to Ann. "It's finally come to this. It's hard to leave the executive director behind, but I'll face the judgment now. I'm coming with you. I won't stand for this outrage." We entered the CEO's office together. Mike was sitting in a high-backed luxury chair, with one of his cronies standing to his right, and Sarah smiling gleefully at his side. The crony, who had escorted me, quickly took his place to Mike's left. "White, today you are fired. However, you've served the company well for 10 years. In recognition of that, we'll arrange it as an early retirement. You'll receive a decent severance, so don't worry." There was no point in making a scene. I quietly nodded, understood. Mike sneered at me gleefully. "Finally, the incompetent is gone." His cronies also looked down on me, smirking, and bit her lip in frustration, but quickly retorted, "What are you thinking? Without Mr. White, the company will truly fall apart." "Shut up. I'm the acting CEO, and you're the executive director. If you can listen to me, you might as well quit too," Mike snapped back. Then Sarah, who was standing nearby, chimed in. "After all, with your hands tied, what can you really do? You're quite capable. Why don't you just find employment at another company?" "Mom, are you saying I'm unnecessary for this company?" "At last, have you just realized? This company is meant for Mike to inherit. Don't worry, we'll properly replace the staff we've lost." Are these the words a mother showers on her own daughter? If I leave, Mike's takeover will be complete, but I never had the power to stop it anyway. Watching the split in this family-run business is painful. I feel sorry for Ann, but I'm exhausted myself. Maybe it's best if I just quit. Acting CEO, Executive Director, Mrs. CEO, I truly thank you for everything up to now. I bowed deeply. As I raised my head, the faces of Mike, Sarah, and the surrounding employees were pale. As I turned around, I was shocked to see John, the president, in a wheelchair. Someone who looked like a nurse in plain clothes behind him was pulling the wheelchair. "I received permission from the doctor to be outside for an hour," John explained. Though he appeared thinner, his eyes were sharp, and he radiated energy. Sarah staggered towards John. When did you recover enough to use a wheelchair?" "You wouldn't know since neither you nor Mike came to visit, but my condition has been improving day by day." "Okay, that's good to hear. I've been so worried." John snorted dismissively at Sarah and turned his gaze to Mike. "While I was absent, you seem to have done whatever you pleased. Remember, you're only the acting president. not the president. Initially confused, Mike's voice trembled after hearing John's forceful tone. I was just thinking of the company, and I thought you were done for. To be underestimated like this. I'm not about to be incapacitated by something like this. My pulse has stabilized, and my fever has gone down. That's good to hear. I've been very worried. John glared sharply at Mike. Don't say things you don't mean, but fine, I guess it was Mom's influence anyway. You misunderstand, dear. I would never feed Mike those ideas. Having known you for so long, I understand. Anyway, Anne, I'm a bit tired. Could you call a care taxi for me? I need to return to the hospital. Understood, Dad. I'll make sure to coordinate from your hospital room. I'll act as your hands and feet. Thanks to the incredible commotion, my early retirement was called off. John's recovery was remarkable. He worked diligently on his rehabilitation to rebuild the muscles he lost during his hospitalization. Gradually, he started to walk on his own. I began visiting the hospital room daily with Anne, and with each visit, he seemed more energized. However, it seems a full recovery will still take some more time. So, Anne brought a computer into the hospital room to make it easier for John to work. With Anne and my assistance, he could manage his presidential duties via telework from the hospital. At 60, John was already proficient with computers and was pleased he could work from the hospital. He opened his laptop and powered it on. Well, what should we start with? First, let's restore Smith Design to its original state. Anne suggested as she displayed a list of employees who had been dismissed on the computer screen. It may seem too presumptuous to dismiss them and then ask them to come back. But we can't operate without them. I'm prepared to personally apologize to each one of them. Yes, I'll join you in that. If I hadn't fallen ill, none of this would have happened. John agreed. Following John's instructions, the dismissed employees were reinstated. We all rejoiced with smiles upon reuniting. I'm relieved to be reemployed. I was worried about how I would pay off my home mortgage. That's great to hear. Let's continue to support the president. With this, about 90% of the original staff was restored. Unfortunately, we couldn't bring it back to 100%. Next, we should post job openings to hire new staff. With new people, the company is sure to grow even more. Eventually, John was discharged from the hospital and began attending work in a wheelchair. Being sick is no joke. If you're not careful, your son might just take over the company. Yes, Dad, we still need you to stay strong. John and Anne truly had a good relationship and trusted each other deeply. Somehow, the Smith family had split into two factions, John and Anne versus Sarah and Mike, leading to a sad situation of mutual hostility. Perhaps Sarah married John out of love, which might not last forever. As someone who's never been married, I might not have the right to comment. Now that most employees have returned, the punishment for those who betrayed John begins. Firstly, both of Mike's cronies were dismissed. Those two inflated Mike's ego, but really, Sarah is the true culprit, John noted. As the years went by, the couple grew increasingly dissatisfied with each other. Gradually, Sarah began to dote solely on Mike. Despite his worries about Mike's irresponsibility, John appointed him as a COO, a position higher than his elder sister Anne. This might have been John's way of showing his love, but it seems Mike never truly felt it. Other employees who sided with Mike received only stern warnings. Employees are vulnerable, and when the leadership changes, they often have no choice but to conform. It was a tough decision for the employees as well. John fully understood this and did not resort to any pay cuts or dismissals. The real culprits this time were undoubtedly Mike and Sarah. Though they are John's son and wife, they must face appropriate consequences. Mike, for his part, was demoted to an entry-level position for playing with the fates of employees in John's absence. This personnel decision seemed to have hit him hard. having been entrusted with the role of COO and used the president's office in his father's place, it must have been unbearable for him. Embarrassed by his demotion, Mike started coming to the office less frequently. However, this was convenient for us in management, as it was unclear how to direct him in his new role. Due to his frequent absences, I asked Ann about his home situation. While Ann lives alone, Mike has always lived with his parents. So I haven't seen it directly, but I heard he stays in his room all day, and the housekeeper leaves his meals in the hallway. It's ridiculous. He might have lost all his confidence at once. Despite this, Sarah, who dotes on Mike, blatantly blames the near coup on John's illness. The marital relationship has deteriorated beyond it can be repaired. John and Sarah both care deeply for their children and live together to spare them any hardship. However, John decided to punish Sarah as well, banning her from the company. When Sarah protested, he showed her photos and documents from a private investigator. "You've been cheating all along. Did you think I knew nothing about it?" John confronted her. Sarah had been frequently visiting Smith Design because her lover worked there. This lover was a young employee in his 30s, whom Sarah had lavished with considerable money. After Mike became acting CEO, there was even talk of promoting this man to a department head as a special favor. "I had affection for you after all these years together. But even that is gone now because of what you've done. The money you squandered was earned by me," John said coldly. Sarah tried desperately to make excuses, but John was not listening. The crime of trying to privatize the company as the CEO's wife was severe. John and Sarah decided to get a divorce at an advanced age. However, Sarah's lover quickly resigned and returned to his hometown. Mike, who sided with Sarah, strongly opposed the divorce. "Isn't it pitiful for Mom? How is she supposed to live if they divorce now? She can work or do whatever is necessary. Working to live is a normal part of life. Maybe it's time you started working seriously too," John responded. John finally fired Mike, who refused to work. As a result, Mike and Sarah were forced out of their home. Normally, a young and healthy son like Mike would work and support Sarah. However, Mike refused to seek employment, his pride preventing him from working under anyone after being flattered with titles like COO and acting CEO. Eventually, their money ran out. With nowhere to go, mother and son had no choice but to return to Sarah's hometown. However, the house had already been passed on to Sarah's brother and his wife. Knowing Sarah and Mike's dire situation, they could not turn them away. They were given a small room where they now live humbly. Meanwhile, those of us who remained at Smith Design have seen better days. John's health fully recovered, eliminating the need for a wheelchair. Though he uses a cane just to be cautious, he walks firmly on his own feet. With the president's full return, the company has regained its normal routine. I was promoted to head of the sales department in the next personnel change. The responsibility has increased, but President John trusts me deeply. My team trusts me, and I find great fulfillment in our work every day. And became the COO and a good advisor to John. I should have made N COO from the start, then none of this clue-like trouble would have happened. John mused. I understand you wanted to give Mike a chance, Dad. In the end, it was good we realized early on that he lacked the necessary skills. And responded. There's a saying that the less capable children are the more beloved, and Mike was exactly that. John deeply regretted letting his feelings as a father lead him to appoint an incompetent Mike as COO. Thus, Smith Design recovered from a major crisis. The company's performance improved, and so did employee wages. We, the employees, are eager to continue uniting under John's leadership to elevate the company further. That day, during lunch break, I was playing chess with John in his office. Just like before his hospitalization, our skills were evenly matched, and we kept winning and losing alternately. John seemed to enjoy this. It's no fun if it's like entertaining golf where the other party holds back. I completely understand that, I replied. Then, John fell silent for a while. While I was focusing on the chess pieces, John surprisingly asked, "White, aren't you going to get married? You're of a good age to consider it." Embarrassingly, I've been so focused on enjoying my work that I haven't had a girlfriend. But you're right, I should start thinking about my personal life. Coming from me, who didn't have the best marital success. It might not sound convincing, but perhaps it's time you considered marriage. John suggested. Maybe I should attend a mixer then. I considered. Just then, there was a knock, and Anne walked in. "Playing chess again. You two always get along so well," she noted. "Wyatt is the only one who will play with me," John responded, and casually took the seat next to me, watching our game with interest. "White, you should teach me chess too. I'd like to study and try to beat Dad," she said. "That's a good idea. Playing with me all the time might bore the president," I joked. John looked at me and then alternately, grinning. "How about we three go out for sushi tonight?" "That sounds lovely. White, are you available?" Anne asked. "I don't mind at all. I'd be glad to join," I answered. Lately, it feels like we three have been spending more time together. For me, it's the most relaxing and comfortable relationship. I was just suggesting to White here that it might be time to think about marriage. And you too, Anne, don't stay single forever. Show me some grandchildren," John said. "I know, I get a bit anxious thinking about childbirth, but I don't even have a partner yet. Maybe I should go to a mixer," Anne mused. Hearing Anne say the same thing made me laugh. I was just saying the same thing. "COO, shall we go to a mixer together?" I asked. "That sounds great. Make sure to gather some handsome guys," she joked. "Maybe it would be quicker if you two just married each other," John teased. Anne and I looked at each other and laughed. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about her in that way. But I felt I still lacked the credentials to ask her out. Glancing at Anne sitting next to me, her face turned red with embarrassment. I thought maybe I should ask her out for a drink, just the two of us, sometime soon.